I am Supervisor Mirna Melgar, Chair of the committee, joined by Vice Chair Supervisor Dean Preston and Supervisor Aaron Peskin.
The purpose of this hearing is first and foremost in response to the longstanding demand from current and former residents that their concerns for their own health and safety be heard and that they receive answers and a guarantee of a clean and safe environment where they live. As a city, we have a responsibility to protect our residents. The health risks to current and future residents has been debated and discussed since even before residents were moved onto the island. Radiological objects continue to be discovered very close to homes that were not expected to exist, raising questions about how much we really know about the extent of contamination and their impact on residents.
Julie Pettyjohn with the California Department of Toxic Substances.
My name is Julie Pettyjohn. I'm the branch chief for the Berkeley Site Mitigation and Restoration Program at DTSC. My program locally manages DTSC's work at Naval Station Treasure Island. The Navy is responsible for the cleanup of Treasure Island. The Department of Toxic Substances Control, or DTSC, is the lead regulatory agency overseeing the Navy's cleanup activities. The Navy must investigate and remedy contamination prior to transferring land to a non-federal entity, the City of San Francisco, and also known as the Treasure Island Development Authority, who I understand is here today. DTSC oversees the implementation of the remedy process. So remedies may include removal actions, treatment, installation of engineering controls, and or land use controls that have some kind of use or other activity restrictions. And that's to ensure protectiveness now and into the future. These land use controls do stay with the property even with changes in ownership. Following transfer of remediated properties from the Navy to TIDA and later to developers, DTSC continues to provide oversight of land use restrictions and institutional or engineering controls during redevelopment activities. We understand that there may be testimony later about health concerns of residents. When DTSC is made aware of these health concerns, we look at what's going on with the project at the time and place and ensure that the project is being managed appropriately. So following the work plans that were approved, ensuring that controls are in place, we usually go out to investigate ourselves. We do facilitate communications with people who have health concerns and connect them with resources to help them. So for example, the California Department of Public Health, Environmental Health Investigation Branch, physicians, San Francisco Department of Public Health, and at times UCSF's Occupational and Environmental Medical Program. DTSC is not qualified to make any diagnosis as we are not doctors or nurses. So we do rely on those groups to assist us where there are concerns.
The California Department of Public Health. Mr. Anthony Chu and Sheetal Singh.
My name is Anthony Chu. I'm with the California Department of Public Health. I'm the division chief for the Division of Radiation Safety and Environmental Management. With me here today is Dr. Sheetal Singh, who is the program manager for Environmental Management Branch.
Madam Chair, who owns this land now?
Hey, this is Robert Beck with Treasure Island Development Authority. About 70% of the former naval station has been transferred to the city. The residential area on Treasure Island is one of the areas where the Navy has not completed their environmental cleanup work and has not yet transferred to the city.
Cdh Roles. We serve primarily as a consultant to our Department of Toxic Substances Control, DTSC. We provide the technical expertise on radiological cleanup. We review the technical work plans, the cleanup plans, sampling plans. As we analyze cleanup data to ensure that the site is cleaned up. We also conduct confirmatory surveys and soil sampling. We issue recommendations to close the site once the data are confirmed. There's been a lot of work that's been done on Treasure Island. We have a map here that shows Site 12 and Treasure Island. CDPH conducted a gamma survey of IRP Site 12. And this survey consisted of the streets on Site 12, and you can see the green lines here indicates the street. And in this survey, we did find 4 areas with elevated radiation levels, and subsequently we extended that perimeter fence of the contaminated areas out so that the elevated areas would be enclosed in the controlled areas. Sites were not properly identified with contaminants. They were not properly characterized, leading to a less than accurate conceptual site model. The conceptual site model provides a base framework to describe where the contamination is and the quantity of the contamination, and it gives us a strategy to clean it up. Without an accurate conceptual site model, cleanup work would be ineffective. Also, in the past, there were inadequate oversight of remediation contractor. A radiological health branch did inspections of the contractor, and we found sometimes that there were poor maintenance of records. Some of the equipment may not be properly calibrated, and we did issue notices of violations. But sometimes our recommendations were not followed up or not implemented.
How do you describe your understanding of a health risk to current residents?
I can speak with perspective to the radiological contamination. I think there is no immediate risk to the residents living there. We know that there is radiological contamination at Treasure Island. It's present at IR Site 12. It's present in the SWDAs, which are still undergoing remediation. But these areas where there is known contamination present, there are engineering controls in place. So I'm talking about things like postings, things like fencing. So there should not be an immediate threat to the public, because the access on these sites is pretty restricted, as long as they're following the ground rules set up by TIDA.
This is Anthony Chu. Is there radiological risk at Treasure Island? There is, because it is a contaminated site. So we acknowledge that, and we're working hard to monitor vigilantly on the cleanup of those sites. But radiation, the engineering control measures that's put in place, such as the distance, the signage, the fencing, that goes a long way in protecting the public and the residents there.
My retired parents moved down with me, and all of us have developed coughing and bronchial issues. We were not told when we moved in that there were potentially radioactive issues on the island. I remember when I first moved in being told not to dig in the ground, but no real reason was given as to why. I think we all find it here hard to trust the Navy and the assurances now that things are okay after learning that there were consistent lies from contractors previously cleaning up the island. And it seems like the Navy did not keep accurate records when they were testing and training with radioactive substances, which has made this process even more difficult. So, like Berkeley, I would appreciate transparency as a resident and to have more information given in maybe less technical detail so that people who are not science majors with science backgrounds can understand what is going on.
Thank you, Katrina. Next caller, please. Welcome.
Hi, this is Eric Brooks. I coordinate the local grassroots organization, Our City, San Francisco. We helped coordinate getting this hearing together. I want to just crystallize what we've just witnessed to some really simple things that are pretty shocking, and that is that we had agency representatives stand up in front of us and say that the public will be protected by fences with warning signs on them and sidewalks. Dust does not respect fences. Water does not respect fences. And toxins move through dust and water. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I ignored signs and I climbed fences. So the idea that fences are going to protect children is ludicrous, or anyone else. And the idea that sidewalks are going to protect people, I mean, have these people actually walked around in San Francisco and seen some of our sidewalks? And are they aware that sidewalks regularly get torn up and worked on so that you can do things underneath the sidewalks? This is just crazy that these agencies are telling us these things. And this gets to the point of, what if we were to get the federal government to redesignate this site so that the EPA was working on it? Not that I love the EPA, but at least we would not have DTSC, an agency that was caught back in the 2000s openly colluding with the Navy over emails to cover up the radioactive contamination on the island. At least we would not have an agency like that taking point on this investigation that needs to happen.